Hello everyone, Jack Boyle, Steam Engines USA. Hope you're doing great today. And we pretty much have gotten finished with our French drain project. And I just kind of wanted to reflect on it. So if you are thinking about doing a project like this, I'm just going to kind of give you a few things that I wasn't expecting that you should probably be aware of. If you go back to my videos on YouTube, Steam Engines USA YouTube channel, I started this on February 5th of 2020, and today is August 28th, 2020. So roughly a little over 6 months, just actually over 6.5 months. I started out initially, we were thinking, hey, we can just slope some of this dirt onto this foundation and make the drain, for the water runoff and the drainage to come around this side of the house. As I got into it a little bit more, I realized that it wasn't what they call surface water, it was groundwater that was the issue. At the foundation down here in the ground, at the very bottom of the foundation of this house, that's where the water was coming in. So started with a shovel, digging around the right side of the house. We'll walk over there. Actually, I can flip it. A lot of work. I went back and watched my first video when I started this. I really did not know what I was getting myself into. There was a bush, big old bush right here. The concrete here, later I ended up cutting it out because we had to go under the driveway. But I started out digging a trench right here with a shovel, and now it's actually all the way back in the woods back there is where the end of it is now. But dug this out, the concrete was here. I dug my foundation down right over here. My buddy Steve came over and helped me. We got this corner down to the foundation. I come around the front and was digging all this out with a shovel. I was working myself to death. I don't mind work. I've always worked hard my whole entire life. But sometimes there's a smarter way of working, if you know what I mean. So I went and bought this termite back here. So I'm gonna pause for just a second, we'll come right back. All right, so this is a termite T5. Heck, that's late 90s, early 2000 model. And this thing was a lifesaver. That right there, best money I ever spent. That thing is not. So using the backhoe, I started digging out the front of the foundation with it. And I went through a couple of these lines, like I've replaced one there, one going underneath, and then this line on the loader. So I replaced 3 lines on this thing, hydraulic lines, and they were, I don't know, about 50, 80 bucks a piece. This is some of the leftover pipe that I have. Make you a deal on this, I'm taking that back, but this has been cut, some of the 8-inch and 6-inch pipe. So if you're looking for some pipe, I can hook you up. So I started digging the front of this thing out, and I realized I had a pretty serious project on my hands, but I'm not one for quitting. In between that, I was working multiple jobs, full-time jobs and a part-time job, and doing this work on my days off intermittently when it wasn't raining or the weather wasn't bad. So i.e. 6-month project. So if you go do something like this, realize that whatever your timeline is, if you're doing it by yourself, you might want to double or triple it, because you'll run into all kinds of issues. So once I got this dug out, it would rain and the walls would fall in. Hindsight, I've seen people that they would put tarps down. I really don't think it would help much in this situation. because the groundwater, it was just a really a lot of water on this property. I mean, just everywhere. The yard would be saturated. So digging this out was the majority of my time. So know that going into it. If you can get it dug out the quicker, you'll get your project done and finished quicker. I ended up here, this little spot. I've wore out some of my yard with my tractor going back and forth. I bet you I made several thousand trips with that bucket. Went through unknown amount of gallons of fuel. But this was my rock pile base. And the rock would actually, when the dump truck would offload 18 tons of rock, it would fill this whole area up. And let me tell you, that's a lot of rock. And we did that five loads. Me and my buddy Steve basically shuttled with his trailer. We made 10 trips and essentially got 18 tons of rock. And then the last 4 trips, I used the local service, and they actually brought 18 tons of gravel, number 4, the big stone, out when I needed it. So that was another thing. I read a lot of people using like crush and run 57 stone. This is what I used. Big. These are like what they consider like railroad gravel. The big gravel, the big thick stuff. This costs more. I mean, look at those stones. But it gives you the best drainage. So once I got that done, if you remember, on this side of the property, I was able to dig down, and once I got this whole side dug out, mostly with the backhoe, and then another thing is I would dig out and have mounds of dirt. So this 90 tons of rock that you basically see, I had probably 90 tons of dirt that I pulled out and would have to shuttle down to the other end of the property with my bucket loader and dump it. So I spent days moving dirt. I mean, that's all. I would start in the morning, 6 a.m. or not really 6, I'd wait till about 8, and literally dig all day till 5, 6 o'clock if I had a good day, and just digging out dirt with the bucket loader, the backhoe attachment on there, back of that thing, and then using the bucket to scoop it and shuttle it. Now, this is one pile on our property. So take a look at this. So I guess if you need dirt, I got a lot of it. So this is roughly 4 feet off the ground and about 8 feet wide maybe. So tons and tons and tons of dirt there. So that's one pile. I've got back, you can't see it from here, but on the far end of this property, I basically have dumped and built a I don't know what you call it, kind of basically like a base, like a platform out there, about 2-3 foot tall, big area of just dirt that's packed down. So you're moving a lot of dirt. Had I done this with a with a shovel and a wheelbarrow, I'd still be going. I hate to think, that's a lot of dirt. But once you got all your dirt moved, I got all the rock out over here, down here, that my problem was the guy had used, when they built this property, they used cinder blocks on the foundation. So they poured the foundation, and then basically the first layer of brick to lay the walls of this house. They used red brick for about the first foot, and then for whatever reason, there's a section that has 3 cinder blocks and a section that has 4 cinder blocks. So that's where the water was coming in, because the cinder block, that material is porous and it does not stop water. So if the only thing you got in your house is a cinder block foundation basement, water's gonna come through it. You either have to get the water flowing away from the house. If water stacks up on that foundation, it's gonna come through the wall. And that's what was happening here. So this was, I don't know, several months in, after I dug all this out. My plan shifted. I was going to start from the corner here and have one big pipe drain going over to the left side of the house. Well, as I got into it, I realized that my water problem was over here, and this ground over here just stayed saturated. So be flexible and willing to change your plan. That's where it came up here. So I realized I need 2 drain lines on this property. And then I realized I'm not dealing with just the surface water, I'm dealing with groundwater. So that was a tough day, because I realized my project was going to get twice as big as I'd started out with. So my basically 140 feet of pipe on the left side of the house added another 200 feet on the right side. So this is what we're doing. I came over and with the backhoe dug this whole entire side of the property out every day. Come home from work, get on the tractor and dig. I hit a Duke power line right here. That cost me some money. They had to come out and reconnect it to the light even after they had marked it. But just the digging, a lot of digging, and not all with the backhoe. A lot of this I had to get my shovels out, shovel it, and keep the grade, because you want your grade to slope. It's got to be a gradual slope. A lot of people say, you know, for every so many feet it drops so many inches, and this was the end on this side. So got all that dug out, and it would rain and the sides would fall in. Now once this is dug out, you can't just get these backhoes and go back out and dig it, because you can't straddle the trench. And if you come in and pull in sideways, you're actually digging your trench out wider. So a lot of this stuff I had to dig out by hand 4 times. So when I say I dug a lot, I dug a lot. If you're doing a project like this, just get comfortable with a shovel, get a good pair of gloves, because they'll be your friend. So at that point, I was quite irritated, and I realized that this is gonna take me a little bit longer than I anticipated. However, I wasn't gonna quit, and I guess my pride wouldn't let me call and just pay somebody to do it, which my wife was encouraging me to do. So she is smarter than me. I will give her credit for that, and that would have probably been the best thing to do. However, I do like saving money, and for me this was a learning experience as well. So I gained a lot of knowledge doing this myself. So with that, with this trench dug out, I realized I wanted to dig this whole entire thing out and then put my pipe in the ground. Well, due to the rain, I realized that that's problematic. So I shifted my plan. So then I started digging out sections, and I started over here on this side. And me and my wife come out here and she helped me. I had the geofabric, I had my rock, I had my trench dug, and my pipe. So together, she helped me put pipe in the ground for this, pretty much this whole entire project. So basically, we put the fabric in the ground, the geofabric, put the pipe in the ground, put rock on top of it, blanket wrapped it, and that was several days of work when we were off on weekends and things like that, whenever our schedules lined up. Some I would do when I come home. You know, I would tackle it and do what I could, get to a point where I knew I needed some help, and either I'd struggle through it myself, or either when she was home, she would help me. So thank you, love you, baby. So I realized we needed to put the pipe in the ground as soon as possible once the trench was dug and ready. So using that strategy, I started laying pipe from this side of the house, and gravel, pipe and gravel, pipe and gravel. And we went through some truckloads, dump truck loads of gravel, and got to the front here, which is where the transition is to 8-inch pipe. Now, my 8-inch pipe, it did not have perforated like holes, those small little holes in it. And the company I bought the 8-inch pipe from, they could order it, but it would have took weeks to get it. So they said, well, you can just drill it out. So in a later video, you see I got a 1/2-inch drill bit, and I drilled hundreds of holes in that 8-inch pipe. Took me each section 2 hours or more of nothing but just drilling holes. I started out drilling them fast, you know, and then it'd wear my arm out, my back, and everything started hurting. I'm like, wow, this ain't working. So then I transitioned and took my time, walked down the pipe, and I would actually drill halfway around the pipe. And then, you know, just every couple inches, another hole, series of holes. So we got all the pipe dug, drilled out, all the holes perforated. And they tell you, lay in, you want the holes down, facing down in your trench. Now, I drilled all the way around this pipe, but I had 3 sets of holes that were basically in series and I guess uniformity, or, you know, not really conformity, but they were uniform, and just had a nice pattern down that pipe. That's the side I laid down. I could have probably laid any side down, but you wanted the most of your holes on the bottom of that pipe to collect the water rising up through there. So put the geofabric down, did our transition. I was gonna go from my downspout, I was gonna put that in with a Y, and then I kept reading so much about people saying don't do it, don't do it. All your gravel and rock and stuff off your roof flows into it. And you know, I got to thinking about it. I don't want anyone to ever have a problem with this house and the drainage. So I nixed that. I said, you know what, I'm not going to feed it into that line. I'll just run it like we normally would with landscaping, with a runoff pipe coming off the gutters. So any water going into this rock base is just going to flow away. So that took time, getting all pipe, then covering everything back in. Wrapping a pipe is actually a lot harder than it looks. So that's really a 2-person job, to put rock in and spread it out and wrap it and then cover it. Once your pipe is in the ground and you got that first foot of rock down and around it, then it's just dumping rock and spreading it. So all of that brings us to where we are today. And looking back from February to now, I can tell you it's a huge sigh of relief. I think this is a A1 professional job that I did. It looks good. I got a good solid rock base down. I do not have one worry whatsoever about any water collecting up here on the front of this house now. Basically, the way I've designed this and the way it's working is any water, groundwater as well, that breaks this plane right here of a rock wall will go right to that pipe that's 5 feet underground and flow all the way around the house and the property. So feeling really good about that. It was a pretty long process, lot of hours. I mean, golly, I can't imagine how many hours I've actually put into this, but if I could have stuck to it every single day, not had to work, not had rain issues, water flooding out my trench, instead of 6.5 months, this would have probably took me, realistically, a good 3 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, I would say at least 20 days or so, you know, be the way I did it. Now, if you had 4 people working with you, if you had some friends, some brothers, cousins that, you know, their life wasn't in a state where they could come over and help you. You know, we were very busy people. All my family's pretty busy. But if you had some folks that could just come and help you out, I mean, you could probably knock something like this out in, you know, 10 days or less, realistically, maybe 5. But all that digging, man, it's moving a lot of dirt, so it just takes time. But yeah, I would do it again. And it is what it is. So if you're thinking about trying to do a French drain project, know that there's surface water, which is water that collects on top of your ground and it flows basically and runs up against your house. And then there's groundwater. That's what we had. Ground is where when it rains, the water settles through the ground and then collects. And it was actually coming from the ground up. It was rising. And the groundwater would rise up to the foundation level and then start seeping into the house. So if you have a groundwater problem, you have to do a French drain like this. You have to dig that whole entire thing out, the whole front of your house, and a trench that flows away from your house, and you have to keep it as a slope. So if your house is over here, you want that pipe to slope going down away from your home. If it's just a surface problem, you could actually do that with just a shovel. Dig it out maybe a foot, and like you see these folks do, they use that little 4-inch pipe, put a lot of gravel around it, wrap it with that geo fabric, and that'll take your surface water away. Just know that I would suggest doing a 2-foot wide hole trench. Some people only do it the width of the shovel, but the part that's flowing that water away from your house is that rock, the pipe and the rock. So the more rock you have, the wider that hole, that trench is, the more water is going to flow, the more it's going to move. So yeah, so I'm pretty stoked. It's been a long time coming. I'm glad that I don't have to dig anymore. I may have a tractor coming up for sale if anybody's looking for a tractor. I don't know, I like that thing. We've bled together, we've turned the thing over. If you remember in a video, I had a big load of rock, or excuse me, a big load of dirt, and the front tire went down on me. I dipped into a trench down on the other side of the property, and over I went. Actually, it threw me into some trees. It's a wonder I didn't get killed. But it's just kind of a freak accident. And so we've been through a lot, me and this tractor. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna sell it or not, but wife says sell it. So if you talk to the wife, she'll sell it to you. Price to be determined. But I don't know, I got some more things I got to do in landscaping, so I'll probably use it a little bit longer. But anyway, I'm running out of things to say. I think I've shared a reflection on this French drain project, and there's not anything else I think I could share to give anyone advice or suggestions. Take your time, don't get overheated, drink plenty of water, stay hydrated. Get you some big galoshes, you know, those big water thick rubber boots at Walmart. They sell them for about 20 bucks a pair. And a good shovel. Get you a light, either light wood or one of those fiberglass shovels, a flat one, and the spade, the curved one. So yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. This is a long video. I spent right here 25 minutes on it, just giving you a reflection. So the price breakdown, that's what everybody wants to know. My quotes were on just the left side when I first started this project, and I was going to go just across the house into the back of the property. The cheapest was $5,000 for just one side, and they weren't doing like groundwater, digging it out down to the foundation. It was kind of a combination of that, and so add in a complete dig out, add in waterproofing the wall, then we went to the right side. Yeah, so it was basically 15 grand is what people were wanting, and that was the estimate. And you know how estimates go. Once you start, the stuff that I run into, they would have, you know, I would have had additional add-on charges, running across the power, going to the outdoor light, that been cut. I did have hit our septic line. That was nasty. Wasn't really too bad, I mean, but just it's a hassle. So over here on this side of the property, basically right over in there, I had a video of it as I was digging, hit our septic line, and the septic comes off the back of this property and then goes around to the front and through the trees. So it's like a 3-inch pipe, PVC white pipe. I mean, it's not that big deal, but I hit it and then it flooded the trench. So got my big gloves and throwaway clothes on and went out there and dug that thing out to get the nasty water away. Had to cut my pump off. Had to stop everybody from using water in the house and cut through the pipe, replace the pipe, and then just kept going. So, you know, that would have been, had I been paying someone to do that, you know, instead of you know, $30 worth of materials, glue and pipe and all that stuff, they would have probably charged me $300 to fix it. So yeah, so I would say about $3,000 worth of rock, and that's the thick stuff. You can use this small, cheaper crush and run. You can use that smaller gravel, but I use this, I think it's number 4 or number 5. I think it's number 4 stone. It's the big, thick railroad crossing type rock that they use for railroad beds. My 8-inch pipe, I got 400 feet of 6-inch pipe and 2 25-foot sections of 8-inch pipe. I used almost all the 6-inch pipe. Short, maybe I probably got around 50 feet, maybe 60 feet actually. The little couplings and the elbows and all that stuff. One elbow was 90 bucks. So I was close to another $1,000 in pipe. I spent several $100s on the weatherproofing, the paint, that coating that you paint on the walls, just weatherproof the wall. Used a pressure washer to wash the wall. I actually washed it twice. Some of it actually scrubbed with a wire brush, others just it blew off with the pressure. So then the geofabric was basically $100 for 100 feet. So I had 400 feet, $400 worth of geofabric. So, you know, we're like 4,400, and then add that in, that's like 4,800. So I'm right at $5,000 for what I did. Now, if your job is about half what I did, and you didn't use all that rock, Most people don't need to dig a 6-foot deep trench foundation of their house. You know, most people it might only be 2 feet, but you still need one of these trenches going across your property. So, you know, instead of $3,000 worth of rock, you might be able to get away with one truckload. One 18-ton dump truck load of rock was about $640 for me. Geofabric is pretty much fixed price. It ranges anywhere from $80 to $100 for 100 feet. The pipe, I got it at heck, I can't think of their name now. It's on Chapel Hill Road in Burlington. They rent equipment. I would plug you here, guys, but I can't remember the name of the company there. But they're nice folks. I bought all my pipe from them. The fittings I got from a place in Whitsett, McLeansville. The 90-degree coupling, I had to get one from there and one from the place in Burlington. I had to shop around for those because it's not normal stuff that people use. So yeah, hope that helps you out. You know, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to give you my advice. Like I said, I'm not a professional, so I'm not taking any liability on what I tell you, but you know, I can definitely empathize with you and give you some suggestions. Yeah, just in the comment section, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think so far. You know, if you are a professional and you do this for a living, tag me and tell me how much would you have charged for what I've done. I'd be interested to know, kind of hindsight now after a professional has seen the amount of work that I did and the cost and the way this was done. How much would you have charged for a job like this? I would like to know that. So in the comment section, you tell me. But now we're at 32 minutes and I've just kept you way longer than I wanted to. If you're still watching, thanks for watching. Go to Steam Engines USA on YouTube, hit the subscribe, like button. Keep making more videos. I think they're informative and they help people. So from High Point, North Carolina, Steam Engines USA, this is final thoughts on our French drain project that we started February 5th, 2020, ended August 28th, 2020, and now begins landscaping. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.